Welcome to part 2 of the research orientation. Now, if you've made it this far, it means that you have already attended the in-class orientation that I gave last week and that you created your SONA account and completed the pre-screen survey. Now, in part 1, we focused on getting you set up and introduced just the basics of research experience. Now in this video, so in part 2, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking you through everything that you need to know in order to successfully complete your research experience throughout this semester. So let's begin by trying to understand what a study actually looks like on SONA. Now, keep in mind that in part 1, I mentioned that you guys have to choose between two options in order to satisfy your research experience credits for this term. You can choose option number 1, which is research participation, or option number 2, which is research alternative. The most important thing is I don't want you guys alternating between these two options. If you decide to go with participation, you need to stick with participation from now until the end of the term. And if you decide to go with alternative, you need to stick with alternative from now until the end of the term. You will have the chance to indicate your preference for whichever option you would like to go for in the orientation quiz, which will be provided to you right after you're done watching this video. So please just make sure that you indicate the correct preference. Now, if you decide to go with participation, keep in mind that there are different types of studies that you may come across on SONA. Some are going to be online-based studies, and these will primarily consist of online surveys that you can complete from home. Other studies are going to be lab-based studies, and these will require you to physically attend a study at the psychology lab. So we have online studies and we have lab-based studies if you've decided to go with research participation. Now, if you've chosen research alternative or you think you want to go with research alternative, then you will have to attend discussion-based lectures on different research-related topics. And these sessions, in a lot of cases, are going to be lab-based sessions as well, or in-person sessions. And the location itself will be specified on SONA. So essentially everything that you need to know in order to sign up for the slots, whether for participation or alternative, is going to be posted on SONA itself. Now on SONA, we're going to be discussing the options for participation first. So when you open SONA, how do you know if a study is online or lab-based? If you're doing participation, we have two examples here. One which is bodily injuries and the second one which is close relationships. These are just examples of studies that could be posted on the system. So how do you know if a study is online or lab-based? You can just click on study information, and then it will give you a detailed overview of what the study is about, very generally, the location of the study, the approximate duration of the study, as well as the credits a study is worth. So we can see for bodily injuries under study type that this is a standard lab-based study, that it's going to take approximately 15 minutes of your time, and that it's worth 1 credit. On the other hand, for close relationships, under study type, we can see that it's an online external study, meaning that you don't need to go to the lab to complete the study. You can just finish it from home. And we can see the duration as well as the credits for the study. And you can also click on this website link in order to take you to the actual study link where you can complete the study. So this is how you can know whether a study is online or lab-based if you're doing research participation. Now, just keep in mind that you have to complete both online studies as well as lab-based studies in order to satisfy your credit requirements if you're doing participation. You cannot only rely on online studies or only lab-based studies. Whatever becomes available on the system, and if you're okay participating in it, then you need to spare some of your time, whether it's a lab-based study or an online study, to complete it. So please make sure that you complete a combination of both. Now, if you decide to go with alternative, on the other hand, then a lot of the sessions are going to be posted in person, as I mentioned. Now, if a study is a lab-based study, which means that you need to go to the lab to complete it, then the location is going to be HSB 1013, which is the psychology lab, and it's located in the HSB building, same floor as HSB 1018. So you will find the psychology lab, and inside the psychology lab you have a couple of room options. So just keep it simple. If you have a lab-based study, check the location because it will be specified on SONA, but very likely you just need to go to HSB 1013 in order to complete it. Now, if a study is, if you're going with research alternative, first of all, how do you know that the study itself is meant for you if you're doing alternative? Because again, everything will be posted on SONA, whether you're doing participation or alternative. The way to differentiate between these two options on SONA is that studies posted for those doing research alternative will have research alternative. So the words research alternative mentioned in the title itself, as you can see in the example provided here. So we see research alternative session 1. This is a clear indication that this is a study meant for those doing alternative only. So if you're doing participation, you cannot be signing up for those studies. You can sign up for anything else posted on the system that does not have the words research alternative mentioned in their title. So again, to know the location and everything else, you just need to click on study information, and we can see over here that it's a standard lab-based study. Sometimes it will be conducted at the lab, other times it might be conducted at a different location, but again, the location itself will be specified on SONA itself, and we can also see the duration as well as the number of credits. So this is everything that you need to know regarding studies and how you can find them on SONA. Now that you guys know what studies look like, I want to spend a bit of time talking about how studies are going to be posted on the system. Now, this is probably one of the most important things that I would like you to understand. Research experience is designed to be completed gradually throughout the semester. So please do not expect that you will be able to finish this component of the course all at once or during the first few weeks of classes. You will only be able to accumulate or reach the required credits for this semester towards the end of the semester itself. So please keep that in mind. So studies are going to be posted throughout the semester. Sometimes when you check SONA, you may find several studies available for you to participate in, while other weeks, maybe you will open the system and you may find just fewer studies, and that's completely normal. What matters is that you're actually checking the system consistently. And by consistently, I mean 2 to 3 times every week. Now, studies are not going to be open indefinitely once they're posted on the system. They will only open for a limited amount of time before they close. Please make sure that you consistently check SONA. This is why I always emphasize the importance of checking SONA consistently, because checking it once every 2 weeks is not enough. You need to check it 2 to 3 times every week to make sure that you're always up to date with any new studies that are posted. I also want to point out something that confuses a lot of students. Now, although SONA sometimes will send you email notifications, just like this one, when new studies become available. Now, please make sure that you never really rely on those emails alone in order to check SONA. So in previous semesters, what I've noticed is that students just wait for SONA to send them these email reminders, and only when they receive these email reminders, they will go and check SONA. Please don't do that, and that's because we will not be sending out an email reminder whenever every new study is posted on the system. And that's because keep in mind that there are eligibility requirements for certain studies, as I mentioned in part 1 of the lab orientation. So this means that some studies will have eligibility requirements, and so depending on the study, you may or may not receive a notification. So what's really important here is that you log into SONA consistently. So this is going to be primarily your responsibility to check SONA consistently rather than rely on these emails and only checking when you receive them. So please be mindful of that. Now, typically when we post a study, whether online or lab-based, typically it's going to remain on the system for a period of 2 weeks. If a study is lab-based, slots will continue to be added throughout this period. Now, sometimes when you find a new lab-based study, you might open the study and find that all of the slots are already gone. Don't panic if that happens. Researchers will usually release appointment slots gradually over time. So if all of the current slots, when you open and find that all of the current slots are full, it's okay. Just check again later that day or maybe the following day, and hopefully the researchers should have posted additional slots. So again, what really matters here is that you're checking the system consistently. So please make sure that you're doing that early on. So what exactly should you expect as the semester progresses? Now, what I'd like to do now is go over just a few situations that students typically encounter. So this comes from not just last semester, but all of the previous semesters. These are just common situations that students encountered, and I will tell you how to deal with it. So first scenario, let's say that you are doing what you're supposed to do. You're checking SONA regularly, but you can't seem to find studies. That's completely normal. Please don't panic. As I mentioned, what matters is that you're consistently checking the system. Sometimes when you open, you might not find any studies, but later on you will be able to find studies. So new studies will just continue to be posted throughout the semester. So what I want you to do is to just keep checking SONA. Now, if it has been a period of, let's say, 3 weeks and you're not finding anything, please bring it to my attention. There might be something wrong with your profile, but these are just rare instances. But anyhow, if it has been a period of 3 weeks and you're not finding anything, please bring it to my attention. I have 400 to 450 students in the subject pool, so unless you bring your issue to me, I won't be able to figure it out on my own. So please bring it to my attention. Scenario number 2, you see a new study posted on SONA, but you're just not eligible to participate in it. Again, this is completely normal. As I mentioned, different researchers are going to be recruiting different participants because different studies are going to have different eligibility requirements. And there's nothing for you to do here, basically. I will be providing other study opportunities for you throughout the semester if you are excluded from a certain study. But this is why we ask students to complete the pre-screen survey, because it allows researchers to identify participants who meet the requirements for their studies. So please make sure that you complete the pre-screen so that you get as many studies as possible. Third situation, let's say that you're checking SONA 2 to 3 times every week, so you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but you still feel behind because many of your friends managed to earn more credits. This is probably one of the questions that I receive the most often. Now, keep in mind that different students may qualify for different studies because there are different eligibility requirements. So it's perfectly normal for students to earn credits at different rates. So if your friend has 3 credits, you only have 1, you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. And again, you're bringing things to my attention if needed, then don't worry about this, it's okay. You will be able to participate in more studies as the semester progresses. Last scenario, let's say that you completed all of the studies that you're currently eligible for, but you're still low on credits. This basically means that you're doing your part of checking SONA and participating in the studies that you're doing, which is perfect. So again, what you need to do in this case is just keep checking SONA. You really need to be patient in this process. There is a lot that goes into posting studies, so it's not a simple process of just, plugging in studies into the system. It has to go through IRB approval and a lot of planning. So just be patient with it. Just do your part of checking the system, and I will do my part of posting enough studies by the end of the term, and hopefully you will be able to fulfill the required credits by the end of the term. Now let's talk about what I expect from you. Your responsibilities throughout the semester are actually quite simple. Now, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I really cannot stress this enough. It is your responsibility to check SONA consistently throughout the term. And again, by consistently, I mean 2 to 3 times every week, including once over the weekend. Sometimes we post online studies over the weekend, so make sure that you also do the checking over the weekend so you don't miss out on such opportunities. You also have to keep track of your credits throughout the semester, and you can very easily do that on SONA itself. And if you have signed up for a lab-based study and you realize that, okay, something came up, maybe you're not able to attend, you need to cancel your session at least 24 hours in advance, if not more. So the way to do that on Sona is you just go under My Schedule and Credits, and you can click on Cancel Study Appointments, and then choose the slot that you would like to cancel and cancel it. If you don't cancel within this time window, then a penalty will apply, and that's because for lab-based studies, you're actually using the researcher's time, you're using equipment, and the researchers are actually expecting you to come. So someone else could have benefited from that slot if you actually canceled on time. So please just make sure that you're mindful of that you're canceling your slots if you're not able to attend. And if there is some sort of emergency, you can bring it to my attention. Email me, but I need to see proof, and I can cancel it for you on the system. You also need to complete your studies carefully. So keep in mind that the studies that you participate in actually go into research studies. So the quality of these research studies is going to depend on your thoughtful participation. So please make sure that you are actually paying attention when completing these studies, whether online or lab-based. And finally, you need to contact me early if you notice that something just doesn't seem right. Please don't wait until the final week of the semester in order to point things out to me. Just let me know as early as possible so that I can help you. Of course, I also have responsibilities as the research coordinator. Now, my overall role is to make sure that this whole process runs smoothly for you guys as students who are taking part in this process, but also for faculty, since they're the ones who will be posting studies on the system. So I will have to make sure that there are enough research opportunities for everyone to complete the required credits. Even if you get excluded from a study, it's my responsibility to make sure that I offer something else to you. It might not be at the same time that the study that you are excluded from is offered. It might be later on or even early on in the semester. Just keep in mind that, as I mentioned, as long as you guys are doing your part of checking the system consistently, regardless of eligibility, overall, what matters is that I'm providing enough research opportunities for everyone. So everyone in the subject pool will have equal research opportunities. I also routinely monitor SONA throughout the semester. And of course, I'm always happy to answer questions either via email or during office hours. I have office hours every Tuesday, Thursday from 11 to 12 p.m. If these timings don't work for you, you can just email me with the timing that works for you, and we can make it work together. So all this to say that this is a partnership. So if we're both doing our part, then you really shouldn't have any problems completing your research experience. And there is no way that I will allow the semester to end without posting enough research opportunities for everyone. So please, to make sure that the process runs smoothly for you, make sure that you consistently check SONA and that you do not wait until the end of the term to participate in studies. Whatever becomes available, participate in it. So now that I've covered how studies work and what you should expect throughout the semester, I just want to go over a few important reminders to help everything run smoothly for you guys. So the first point has to do with the process of signing up for studies. So please only sign up for studies if you're confident that you can attend the slots that you have signed up for. And that's because researchers, they reserve time, they reserve equipment, and in some cases even individual appointments specifically for you, especially if it's an interview-based study. So if you don't attend or you just forget to cancel before the cancellation window, other students in the subject pool will lose the opportunity to participate in a study. So your actions will affect others in the subject pool. So please be mindful of that. Related to this is the idea that you really need to attend your studies on time. If you have signed up for a 1 p.m. slot, a lab-based study at 1 p.m., please make sure that you reach the lab at least 10 minutes in advance, and that's because attendance usually takes a bit of time. So when we say that a study is supposed to start at 1, it means that the door is going to be locked at 1. So the students are going to be inside already, ready to start the study. So if you arrive even a minute late, this is still considered to be late. Our studies are mostly group-based studies, and you, just like everyone else, need to follow the rules so that our schedule doesn't get affected. Now, when prompted to provide your SONA code, for certain online studies, you will be prompted to provide something called a SONA code. Now, everyone with a SONA profile will get assigned with a SONA code. Where to find your SONA code, you just have to go to SONA, you click under My Profile, and you will find your identity code, which is your SONA code, labeled over there. So every student will have a unique individual SONA code. It's usually a 5-digit SONA code that is unique to SONA. So this is different from your AUS ID. So whenever prompted to provide this code in an online study, please make sure that you are providing it accurately and that you're not providing your AUS ID instead of your SONA code. And that's important because we usually use this code in order to assign credits, especially for online studies. So if you enter the wrong code, it's going to delay or sometimes even prevent you from getting the credits that you need for a study. Now, if you do any of these mistakes, there will be a penalty associated with it, and this will be displayed as an unexcused no-show, and the penalty is going to be 40% of the total amount of credits assigned for a study. So you will lose a couple of points. You can make up for the points lost by participating in more studies, but this is just an unnecessary additional step that you can easily avoid by following the rules one by one. And finally, keep in mind that credits may take several days to appear after completing a study. So when assigning credits, the researchers usually need to verify participation, and this might take a couple of days. So if a reasonable time has, let's say, passed and your credits still haven't appeared yet, then maybe you need to get in touch with me. So if it has been a period of, let's say, 2 weeks and you haven't been assigned your credits yet for a study that you have completed, then you can bring it to my attention. But please don't expect the credits to be assigned directly after you're done with a study. Now, this lab orientation, so when you're done with this video and then you finish the lab orientation quiz, you will actually notice that your credits are going to appear immediately after completing this session. So you should find 0.5 credits reflected in your SONA account just by completing part 2 of the lab orientation. But this is an exception, so don't expect the same for all of the online or lab-based studies to follow. Now I'm going to end the orientation with just one final question that students ask me every single semester, which is, how do I know that I've completed the orientation? Now the answer to this question is actually pretty simple. If you've completed everything successfully, you should see 1 credit reflected in your SONA account. Now, where does this 1 credit come from? 0.5 is going to come from completing part 2, so watching this video and completing the quiz afterwards. And then the other 0.5 is going to come from completing the pre-screen survey. So please make sure that you complete the pre-screen if you haven't done so already. So if you don't yet see a total of 1 credit after you're done with this part of the orientation, then it means that there's something missing. So please make sure that you complete the pre-screen, and if you have any doubts, just bring it to my attention. So please make sure that you have the 1 credit reflected in your SONA account before 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, the 10th of September, which is the deadline to complete the orientation. Once you see that 1 credit, it means that you're all set and you're ready to begin participating in studies. So I really hope that you enjoy taking part in the research experience this semester, and I wish you all the very best.